The ATO to fine people for accessing their super. Let's have a look. Hello everyone, Florian.heise here and welcome to another episode of HeiseSays. Still working through my morning shine of coffee, and I thought we'd have a look at this article from news.com.au discussing, well, the ATO fining people for accessing their super early. Now, everyone had the opportunity to access their super early twice. Last financial year and this financial year, $10,000 each time if they had financial hardship. There was an online process that people had to apply for, and many, many more people than anticipated jumped at the opportunity to get their hands on their money. Naturally, this upset many of the union-controlled and banking-controlled super funds who wanted us to keep all our money there so they can manage it for us dumb plebs. Article after article appeared of people gambling it away. When you look at the actual numbers, it wasn't that many. A lot of people used it to pay off debt. Some people bought new vehicles or things that they needed. It's their money. People should be allowed to spend it how they are. There are rumors going around that if you used it to pay off your credit card, that's not financial hardship. You might get fined. The ATO now seems like they're changing the rules after the fact. They all approved it. They approved people's process to access the super. Now they're going to fine you for it. Could this be another wave, a super-powered robo-debt fiasco? Or does it also show people just don't have confidence in the super system? They want to get their money out there. They want to have their own emergency fund, their own cash. What's going to happen in the next 6 months, in the next year? What's going to happen in September? No one knows. It's very uncertain at the moment. So, the tax office has warned that scores of taxpayers, remember, the tax office work for us, the citizens, could soon be hit with audits and even financial penalties due to one big mistake. One big mistake. I wonder who made the mistake. Thousands of Australians who rushed to access their superannuation early could soon be slugged with an audit or worse, as the tax office cracks down on false claims. That's it. Remember, it's their money, not yours. Not yours. Quiet, pleb. Pay extra into your super. You can't spend it on what you want. You can't spend your money on what you want. Crazy. Under the government's super early release scheme introduced in the wake of the pandemic-fueled economic crisis, eligible Aussies were able to grab $10,000 from their super last financial year and a further $10,000 in 2021, with applications being accepted through the ATO online services in MyGov. But the scheme proved to be controversial. Well, not really. Obviously, a lot of Australians loved it. They took advantage of it. They wanted to get access to their own money. It was controversial to the people who control your money. Remember, this isn't voluntary. Most people are forced to pay into it. Most people don't have a choice. That's my issue with it. There are a lot of people going, oh, I love super, yada, yada, yada. Okay, good on you. But it should be voluntary. There's talk of raising super again, and, politicians saying we need to delay it, to not put this burden on business, because a lot of workers don't realize this is all part of your package. So if your super goes up and you're paid above award, and a lot of people are, your pay can go down, your take-home pay, the amount of money you can have in your pocket. You've got to pay super before you have money set aside to pay for your food, to pay for the house over your head. Just think about that. So critics arguing it should be a last resort only, and that accessing cash now would have dire long-term consequences for retirement nest eggs. But so many people completely wiped out their super. They had less than 20 grand in there. Is that going to make any difference in the long term? With if money printing keeps going the way it is, and they want to push up inflation, so eat away at the value of it. The stock market hasn't done so well. Last Friday, Industry Super Australia estimated about 480,000 Australians had likely cleared out their super funds by June 14, and about 395,000 of these were under the age of 35. And last month, the Australian Prudential Regulatory Regulation Authority figures revealed 14.8 billion had already been withdrawn, with 2.12 million applications lodged with the tax office. The mad rush to access the scheme prompted fears many Australians were taking advantage of it in order to get their hands on their cash without experiencing financial hardship. With several taxpayers who already accessed their superannuation previously telling news.com.au it was alarmingly easy to access with no upfront proof needed. It's people's money. It's your money. People should have access to it. I'm not a fan of this forced saving, of this parental process. Sure, have super, have it there. But don't force people to use it if they don't want to. Oh, but then there'll be more burden on the pension. Everyone will cry. That's life. What would people be better off? Having 50 grand in super and not owning a house and being on the pension? There's a lot of people where this won't even make a significant difference to their retirement. Or they'll just fritter it away. They'll have years upon years of debt that's accruing interest that they're paying for their whole life rather than clearing it all off with super. Now the Australian Taxation Office has warned of potentially serious repercussions for incorrect applications. But isn't it the ATO's job to check those? Aren't they giving the authority? The ERS program is based on individuals making correct declarations to the ATO. Applications need to ensure that they meet the eligibility criteria, an ATO spokesman told news.com.au. In some instances, applications will be declined where the applicant does not meet certain eligible criteria, such as submitting a second application in the same income year, or if a risk of fraud is detected. If an applicant is unable to demonstrate their eligibility when asked for evidence, an application may be revoked. This means amounts paid to under the pandemic scheme, their early release of superannuation, will become assessable income and need to be included in your tax return, and you will pay tax on the released amount. In addition, financial penalties may apply in the most serious cases. So it could be that people have gotten access to this money. It's been approved, they've spent it, they've used it, and then they'll come back and they'll reassess it later. They'll change the rules later. Can you see why people want to get their money out of this bloody system? How many people are worried that it'll just all disappear? That the government will start taking people's super? Oh, your pension will now, get cut in half. Oh, whatever. I mean, this is the thing. How much confidence do you have? The spokesman said it would be much better for taxpayers who believe they may have made an error to make a voluntary disclosure instead of waiting to be audited. There you go. They're pushing people to dob yourself in. If in doubt on how to proceed, the ATO recommends seeking the advice of a tax professional. The ATO will help to remedy their position, the spokesman said. To be eligible for the ERS program, a citizen or permanent resident of Australia and New Zealand must require the cash as a result of adverse economic effects caused by the pandemic, according to the ATO website. My understanding was you had to meet certain criteria. One of those was a reduction in revenue. On top of that, you must either be unemployed, receiving government benefits such as job seeker or youth allowance, or have been made redundant or had your work hours slashed by 20% or more after January 1 this year. While you don't have to provide evidence at the time of applying, you must keep records and documents to confirm your eligibility if required, such as payslips, letters, emails or rosters from your employer, bank statements, business cash flow and turnover records, a website or other public notice confirming your business closed, or documents confirming eligibility for relevant government allowances or benefits. You can only submit one application for the early release of super this financial year. If you're eligible and want to access the early release of super in 2021 financial year, you need to submit an application between July 1 and September 24, even if you applied in 1920. You can apply for the early release of super even if you have previously accessed your super early in other circumstances. So there you have it. Potentially, a bit of scaremongering, a bit of fear, or the tax department just going to get another slice of people's money. It's frustrating, isn't it? All the burdens that are placed on people's backs throughout their whole lives, and some of them happily line up to have more bricks stacked on there. And then when people want to take a slice of their own cash, more bricks are put on there. Let me know your thoughts and opinions, everyone. Do you think super should be mandatory? Or should it be voluntary? Do you support the increase to super? Do you think it'll stop people from being poor? Or will it reduce their own ability to put savings aside? As always, let me know your thoughts and opinions in the comments below. Please like, share, and subscribe to the channel. If you're a fan and want to support this content, there are a few ways you can. You can join us on YouTube or Patreon. You can support us using our affiliate links at Amazon, eBay, Independent Reserve, or Kucoin. You can buy a merch from HeiseSays. You can support us using Gold Pass from the Perth Mint or via PayPal. Thanks, everyone. I'll see you next time.